This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Welcome to another episode of Fringe
Beyond Limits.
Hi.
Hi. Yo.
Yo.
Yo, what up?
So how's everyone doing today?
Tired. Ow. Would you just smash your not so funny bone?
No, yeah, pretty much. That hurt.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Probably karma from something.
Oh, 100%. I fuck something.
You don't need it.
No, that's true.
Who needs an elbow?
Nobody.
Can you imagine if we didn't have elbows?
So let me ask you this. So would
It'd be Barbie. We'd be Barbie.
So would it be we have just straight arms?
Yeah.
Or would there still be space, but it'd be like jelly?
Ew.
Like,
that would be disgusting.
That would be.
But imagine how well you could slap somebody.
That's true. Like you
had to put all your body into it. Like,
yeah.
The fights would look so funny.
You know what? I think we're going to
swinging
do that.
your shoulders.
Yeah, we're going to put everyone in casts with your arms hanging out. Like, do you guys ever see it? Oh, what's that Adam Sandler movie? With all the other guys in it.
Grown-ups?
Yeah, grown-ups. And what's his face? Broke his arms and they're all up. Like
yeah.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like that. That would be awesome. So.
I thought you were going to say we're going to remove everybody's elbow joints.
Yeah, well, we could do that. Just by a snap of the fingers. We could do that, yeah. So, how you guys be?
You already asked that and I said tired.
Sorry.
And then you hit your elbow.
And then that's probably what,
yep.
Yeah, it's fucked me up. All right, so are we doing things that keep you up at night?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Somebody want to go first? You guys want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay, I like it.
It's kind of dark.
I like
Bree,
dark.
It might give you anxiety.
Boy, okay.
I like anxiety. I like dark.
Okay. Do you ever find yourself like thinking about, I'm going to call it the just before? Meaning, what was somebody eating, thinking, doing just before 9/11? Sandy Hook,
Oh, yeah.
JFK, or, like Noah's flood or Hiroshima, or even like a mouse in a field before like the hawk swoops in and get it, or
Yes.
the dinosaurs before the meteor hit, if that is even real.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, no, I do think about that. I do think about like what were like someone's thoughts right before they got murdered. What was someone's thoughts right before a car accident?
Yeah.
What was someone thinking? This is really dark. Before jumping off a bridge, or yeah, I think about that a lot.
Yeah, you said the bridge, and I think of when the bridge collapsed in San Francisco. Like, you're just going about your day.
Yeah.
What conversations are you having in the car? And then,
well, that one and the one in West Virginia with Mothman.
I don't.
That's like the one of the original stories of Mothman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
So people think the bridge collapsed or whatever, and people think they saw Mothman right before. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know the story of Mothman? We should do that episode.
We should.
I was going to be like, did we already do it? And I didn't pay attention.
Yes. You know who we could get on that episode? Dave.
Oh, yeah.
He was. I think he loves Mothman.
I think they went to go. They went on vacation there.
Yeah. I think he even jerked him off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I hear, and I may have seen something on the internet. So yeah, that would be fun.
Do you ever like wonder though? I'm also thinking like, is this my just before? Like as you're driving, or I'm just sitting on the couch watching TV just before a burglar breaks in.
This is giving me anxiety.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, I usually think about that after I'm done pooping. Like, am I going to end up like Elvis? Like, is
my grandpa passed away that way.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Did he really?
He did. Yeah.
Really? For like on the toilet?
Yeah.
Shitting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what was. Maybe he was reading the newspaper. I don't know.
Or maybe he was getting a blumpkin.
But yeah, like that was a thought that was like just before. It's like, I'm pushing a little too hard. Maybe I shouldn't do this. And then,
dude, I push hard.
With as much as you fart, I figured it just pours out of you.
Yeah, ever since I stopped eating as much,
people are going to think you have an eating disorder.
I probably do. I don't eat a lot anymore. I only eat once a day.
Yet for dinner, you eat like a 5-course meal.
No, I didn't have a 5-course meal last night.
You ate like bazillion different things last night.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
gotta taste everything.
I had grilled octopus
which
and calamari.
was like a lot, like a
Love
2-person meal.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a 2-person meal.
No, it's not. It's a 1-person meal.
And you got a full plate of sides, which is a big plate.
There was Greek potatoes, rice, and green beans.
Yeah.
That's a meal.
And then you had like 5 breads.
I know, the breads were so good.
She's fat shaming you.
I know she is.
And then he had cheesecake.
Ooh.
I had half a cheesecake.
And that cheesecake was big.
Thank you for noticing.
Big and thick.
Thank you for noticing.
It had white stuff on it.
Yeah, it did.
Gross.
The white stuff with whipped cream.
Yeah, just painting the walls white again.
Ew.
So, all right. Well, that was a good thing to keep you up at night.
Yeah.
That was fun. Do you want to go next?
Sure. Like the Velisca family. They're just before.
I think this weekend was the weekend that Dave and Karen went to Velisca. I need to reach out and see how they went.
See how that went. Also, I want to know their new structure with the rent a room sort of situation.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I agree. I do too.
I wonder if remember when I had that anxiety there?
Yeah.
I felt like someone was attacking. I wonder if I actually was experiencing someone's right before.
Oh, maybe. Maybe you were experiencing the kids' right before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't that creepy?
It is.
Very.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Bree, what's
She's like, just before before I tell you my thought.
Just before I stalked, I pooped myself. Yeah, go ahead.
So what would you so how much of an influence does a person's name have over the course of their life? Because like when people are like, oh, I want to name my child this. I don't want to name them this because it reminds me of this person, or people with this name usually are like this. Like, how do you think that name affects somebody?
That's a great question. And I think a lot. I think certain names are perceived a certain way. And when they're very unusual names, I think said person is perceived differently by different people because that weirdness affects someone differently. That's just me.
Weirdness.
I
think a lot too, but from a social perspective too. Like if you answer the phone someone with a bizarre name or something, you may or may not take them as seriously if they were named something else, or, the social perception. But there's also the numerology to your name that I had to look it up because I couldn't remember, because there's the Pythagorean numerology and the Caladian, but those numbers indicate different life paths and different experiences that you're
Is that
likely
another
to
episode
encounter.
topic?
Certainly can be, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, also like, especially nowadays, you call, IT help, and it sounds like someone from India, but they say his name is Kevin.
Yeah.
Like when it's that ridiculous, like it's not. Just please use your real name. I would
Right.
rather.
I'd rather it just be your real name.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would rather it be your real name, and you should be proud of your name,
Right.
no matter what it is. But I do think whatever name you have does affect you, because my name, Francesco, when I was young, people kept mispronouncing it.
Cisco.
When they read it, so it's spelled Francesco. So they would either say Francesco, or they would think it's misspelled and call me Francisco.
Mm.
So I so hated that. So when I got to high school, I just started going by Frank. So I think that did play a role in how people perceived me and my path. Because I think that if I kept with Francesco, I think that's a lot more exotic, and I could have gotten girls easier.
Okay.
But when you say Frank, there's not many Franks around anymore. But that's now like an old timey name almost.
Yeah.
So. All right, folks, we need to talk about something very important: your body odor, specifically the kind that sneaks up on you, takes you hostage, and makes you wonder if your deodorant is actually working or just mocking you. Listen, I used to think I had things under control. I showered, used deodorant, even tried the old extra cologne to cover up the funk trick. But no matter what, by midday, my pits, and worse, my lower regions, smelled like a locker room that had been left to marinate in the sun. That is until I discovered Mando whole body deodorant. And let me tell you, I'm obsessed with this stuff. This is not just your average deodorant. This is a game changer. Mando is designed to be used anywhere. Yes, anywhere. I put this on my armpits, my feet, my belly button, because let's be honest, that thing is a secret stink trap. And of course, the grundle. Folks, let me tell you, my grundle has never smelled better. We're talking fresh, confident, no fear of sudden movements, levels of clean. The first time I used Mando, I was expecting just a basic deodorant experience. But hours later, when I should have been in that, maybe I should freshen up phase, I smelled fantastic. I even did a sniff test. Don't judge me. And I was shocked. This stuff is clinically proven to block odor all day and control it for up to 72 hours. And I can vouch for that. I used it before a long flight, and by the time I landed, I wasn't just not gross, I was actively fresh. That has never happened to me. And what makes Mando different? Well, for starters, it's powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. It's aluminum-free, baking soda-free, and comes in amazing scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, and Mount Fuji. Personally, I'm all about the bourbon leather. It makes me feel like a sophisticated gentleman, even when I'm just in sweatpants binge-watching TV. And listen, if you want to smell better, feel fresher, and finally stop worrying about surprise stink attacks, you've got to try it. Mando's starter pack is the perfect way to begin. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, plus 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And because I love you, and because I know you need this, you can get $5 off with our exclusive promo code FRINGE at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. I'm telling you, this stuff is a lifesaver. Use code FRINGE, grab your starter pack, and finally stop waging war against your own nostrils. Trust me, your pits, your bits, and probably everyone within the 5-foot radius will thank you. Yeah. So I think it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I was just sorry. I'm just thinking.
Okay. What are you thinking?
I don't know. It floated out of my brain.
Oh, okay.
Floated out of her brain.
Well, thanks for sharing, I guess. So this is mine. This is, of course, is going to be deep and maybe a little dark, but
Hopefully, I've had my coffee cuppy.
yeah, coffee cuppy.
My coffee cuppy.
Yeah, coffee cup.
No fish.
So I came across this. So it says, is it true that depression isn't real? And the answer to this says, depression? Of course. Let's slap a label of human suffering and pretend it's mysterious illness rather than the obvious result of an existence built on impossible demands. So if you think about it, you are told to work until you collapse, yet rest is called laziness. You are told to chase success, yet the finish line keeps moving. You are told to be yourself, yet only in a way that pleases everyone else. And when your mind finally breaks under this relentless pressure, they tell you it's a chemical imbalance, as if the problem is in you, not in the world crushing you under its weight. Depression isn't some rare disorder. It's an inevitable outcome of a society that measures worth in productivity, that values money over meaning, that teaches you to survive but never to live. So no, depression is not some mysterious force that appears out of nowhere. It's the weight of a world that demands everything from you, then blames you when you crumble under it. Depression isn't a flaw in the human mind. It's the expected response to an inhuman world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know what?
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, well, what part?
So, to me, correct me if I'm wrong, what you read is basically like you're blaming everything going wrong with your life on depression.
No.
That's what I got from that.
No, that's not what it's saying.
What was it saying?
It's saying that, for example, chasing success. What's success? Can you define success?
Everyone has their own definition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But societal, there is a defined definition,
Okay.
and that finish line keeps moving
Okay.
further and further away. So you have to chasing it.
Right.
People say you have to work. You have to work hard, work every day. But when you finally want to rest, you're called lazy.
This sounds like you're just adding, like it's just someone's adding more and more stress, but to retrieve that's never going to get achieved, and then they just explode like a time bomb.
Right.
Yeah, that to me that's not depression.
Yes, it is.
To me, that's just stress.
Stress leads to depression. Stress is also
Yes
a
and no.
symptom
Like,
of depression.
For me, when I think of depression, it's more like constantly always having those negative thoughts. It doesn't have to be because of stress. Like my negative thought could be because like I think these people don't like me. I just people dislike me. And it's not, there's nothing that led to it. It's just for some reason my mind's thinking it.
So when society keeps changing the rules on you, okay, and starts calling you negative things, you start believing them.
But no one's ever
Well-
called me negative things, if
well-
that's the case.
I was going to say, you're both right, though. Everyone internalizes external stimuli differently and external experiences differently. Some, it could be a stress factor that triggers depression. Some, it could be a social factor. It could be a childhood trauma. So different things could lead to the quote unquote definition of depression.
Mhm.
I definitely see both sides of your guys' thoughts here, is that there is still some sort of negative aspect. So whether it's what
Mhm.
you're saying, Bree, is that it's an internalized monologue of I'm not doing this or I don't, but again, it kind of goes back to what Frank's saying too, is that it's still a social dynamic that's coming from it. Because if, using your example, if this person doesn't like me, or if I offended so-and-so, or I'm worried about, I don't know, finances or health or, whatever, I'm worrying about something, it could be based on when I look at everyone else, this is what they have, this is what they see, this is the social standard of what health is and what wealth is and what haves and haves not are.
So it says that depression in psychology, a mood or emotional state that is marked by feelings of low self-worth or guilt and a reduced ability to enjoy life. So everything I read gives you a low self-worth, gives you guilt, and a reduced ability to enjoy life.
Yeah, but that
allow it.
definition is very vague. So it could mean what you say, but it could mean other things too.
No, this is pretty on point. It's a mood or emotional state.
But it doesn't say it's due to stress. It just says it's mood. It's just a state.
Right.
Yeah.
So the stress leads
state
to
of
this.
thinking.
Right. Stress
I don't
leads to
think
this.
it's always like that.
I actually think you guys are saying the same thing.
I think so too, and she's challenging me, which is making me mad, and I'm going to jump across the table and body
You can
slam
have a
her.
conversation.
No,
about
I can't.
that.
I have to be right all the time.
Right, and that's your social stigma, and that's why you're going to be
He
depressed.
does this every
much.
single time when I, for once, challenge him.
Yeah,
and he's
good
like,
for you for
"Ugh."
challenging
A person who is depressed usually experiences several of the following symptoms: feelings of sadness, hopelessness, or pessimism, lowered self-esteem, and heightened self-deprecation, a decrease or loss of ability to take pleasure in ordinary activities, reduced energy and vitality, slowness of thought or action, loss of appetite, disturbed sleep, or insomnia. So stress was only one of the things that was mentioned in that.
It sounded like it was majority of it.
That's your interpretation, which
Yeah.
is incorrect.
Don't tell me I'm incorrect.
Too late.
She can have an opinion.
No, she can't. Not when it's different than mine.
So I guess I'm asking of your thought. Are you more wanting to ask, is it real? Or were you just kind of pointing out the...
Yeah, I was just kind of pointing out the
Has someone ever said to you
misconceptions.
that depression isn't real?
Oh, yeah, my dad.
Really?
Oh, yeah, my dad
Okay.
was
He's also older generation. Nobody talks
100%.
about that
100%.
stuff.
100%. 100%. But still, he did not... He thought depression was just, you're just sad, cheer up, which just makes it even worse.
Yeah, but if you haven't truly experienced what depression is, even if it is for a short stint versus prolonged,
Mhm.
like no one on the outside can see, no one,
Sure.
you can't understand unless you've tapped in or touched on that.
Oh, 100%. But and I agree, but I think it needs to be up to each one of us to be able to look at it's something like depression and be like, yeah, I may not know what it feels like, but I know it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may not understand what you're feeling and what your thought process and internal monologue is, but it's something that definitely negatively impacts you and that you need help, opposed to people just saying, just cheer up. Why can't you just be happy?
Right.
That still happens to this day, which is why I am always so open to talking about my mental health, because it should be normalized.
It should be.
And if anybody wants to challenge me on that, I have the mind and mouth to go toe to toe with them.
Yeah.
Only 9 toes, but it's still, I have no problems.
Yeah.
I enjoy conflict. Conflict is awesome to me. So.
Well, as you were reading that too, there's this poem out there, just more specifically around women, but similar thing is, you have to have it all together. You can't, but you can't fall apart, but you also have like the look pretty, but don't look too pretty, speak your mind, but don't speak too loudly, like all these double standards that from from an American social woman perspective, it's an impossible standard. So no wonder there is depression and over-medication and all of this, because you've got the constant influences from external sources telling you to be all of these things, but none of these things.
Absolutely. And on the other side of that coin, it's the same thing with men. Men are, and I'm not saying you're
No, I was thinking of the poem, the way you said it. But there are impossible standards for men.
I mean, we can't be emotional. We always have to be strong. We need to provide.
You have to provide. Yeah.
What I mean? We can't complain about, we just get up and go do it. And God forbid we ever talk about our emotions and how we feel.
Right.
Because
then you're a pussy,
right,
whatever.
Right.
There's the name calling and the...
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, again, we're all just human, right? I mean...
All just human.
It's... Yeah, I mean, so you could kind of also like tell the differences between men and women when you look at the unaliving stats, where women may attempt it more often, but men are more successful at it, and that's just based on, I think that the things that make us different, is that men are more violent. So
Well, they choose more
violent paths.
Yeah.
Like we're going to take a gun or hang her,
Yeah.
So we're women, it's usually more an overdose.
A little more passive, or subtle or clean.
Yeah.
It's cleaner.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm happy that I got to bring the podcast on again.
Yay.
All right. So, what are we talking about today, ladies?
Jeffrey Allen Lashes.
He's got nice eyelashes.
He does. He bats them at me, and I just get a hard
You
on.
swoon.
Yeah. I am erect immediately.
Gross.
Is it?
Gross.
Listen, at my age, an erection is like a sunset.
A sunset?
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's awe-inspiring, and it only happens once a day.
I thought you were going to talk about the green flash. So.
Oh, yeah. No green flash.
No green flash.
Yeah.
Flash in the pan. Over and done.
Oh, yeah. So, all right, yeah. So today we're going to be talking about Mr. Jeffrey Allen Lash. So the story of Jeffrey Allen Lash is one of the most perplexing and mysterious cases of the 21st century. Lash, who appeared to be an ordinary man, was found dead in July 2015 in Pacific Palisades, California. But what made his death so intriguing wasn't just the discovery of his body, it was the bizarre and chilling revelations that followed. Lash had been living a life of extreme secrecy, claiming to be a covert government operative with ties to extraterrestrial life. The subsequent discovery of a massive cache of weapons in his home deepened the mystery, leading to widespread speculation about who Lash really was and what he had been involved in.
So I don't know anything about this story, but the first thing that caught my ear was the Palisades. And we obviously know we had some massive fires out that way.
We did. But this is also 10 years ago.
So they might still be uncovering things.
You think so?
I don't know where the story is going, but if there's caches of stuff places.
Yeah. That's a great thought process. But as we dive into this, you'll see why it doesn't really.
I'm going to hold to it until you prove me otherwise.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
It'll be like the first two sentences.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It probably
He
will be.
was an idiot. Oh, yeah, never mind.
Okay, yeah, I changed my mind.
So this narrative will unfold chronologically, beginning with Lash's early life. We'll move through each stage of his life leading up to his death and the complex investigation that followed. So Jeffrey Allen Lash was born December 3rd, 1955. I'm actually really Jeffrey Allen Lash.
Yeah, you're a
Aww.
That's me. He was born in Los Angeles, California, into a seemingly unremarkable middle-class family. His father, Eugene Lash, was a respected microbiologist who worked at a prestigious institution, while his mother, Patricia Lash, was a homemaker who dedicated herself to raising their only child. The Lashes lived comfortable life in a quiet neighborhood, and Jeffrey's early years were typical of a child growing up in post-war America. As a child, Jeffrey was quiet and introverted. He preferred solitary activities over social ones, often immersing himself in books, particularly those that involved science fiction, aliens, and government conspiracies.
I might be related.
Yeah.
I think this was like her cousin.
Probably.
Jeffrey's parents placed a strong emphasis on education, particularly his father, who expected Jeffrey to follow in his scientific footsteps. Lash excelled in school, especially in subjects like biology and chemistry, but he struggled socially. He was awkward around his peers, had few close friends, and often seemed more comfortable in his own company. As he grew older, Lash's interest in science fiction and the paranormal deepened. He became increasingly fascinated with the idea that there were hidden truths about the world that most people were unaware of, and this fascination began to shape his worldview. By the time he was in high school, Lash was already developing the ideas that would later fuel the elaborate delusions that define his adult life. If they had podcasts back then, he would have started a podcast just like this and not gone down this crazy road.
Maybe.
Or maybe it would have perpetuated something sooner.
No, I think it gives him an outlet to get it out there so it's no longer in him.
Okay,
Or it could just give him ideas.
I just want to make sure that we're not heading down a road.
Oh, no, we are.
We already been there.
Yeah. We're going to...
Allegedly.
This is going to be Jeffrey Allen Lash the second. That's going to
Okay.
be, we're changing our names. I'll be Jeffrey. You're Alan. You're Lash.
J-A-L.
Yeah.
Okay, I get to keep my initial. That's
There
great.
you go. See, I did it on purpose.
Thank you.
After graduating from high school in 1973, Lash enrolled at the University of California, Los Angeles, where he majored in biology. His father's influence was apparent in his choice of study for a time. It seemed as though Lash was on track to pursue a conventional career in the sciences. However, his time at UCLA marked the beginning of a significant shift in his personality and behavior. Lash was known for his meticulousness and attention to details in his studies, but he was also increasingly reclusive. He spent most of his time alone, avoiding social interactions, and became more deeply immersed in his research on government conspiracies, UFO sightings, and alien abductions. Lynette.
Hey, don't
He-
UFO shame me.
I'm
Conspiracy shame me.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He began to believe that there were hidden truths that only he could understand, and this belief gradually transformed into a full-fledged delusion.
So I'm going to watch my future unfold right
Pretty much.
today.
It's like looking in a mirror. Yes.
Thank you.
In 1977, Lash abruptly dropped out of UCLA, just a few credits short of completing his degree. He offered no explanation to his family or friends, and from that point on, his life took a mysterious turn. For the next several years, Lash drifted from job to job, never staying in one place for long. He maintained only sporadic contact with his parents, who were increasingly concerned about his erratic behavior. During this period, Lash began to cultivate the persona that would define the rest of his life. He claimed to be involved in secret government work, operating in the shadows to protect the nation from various threats. His stories were detailed and elaborate, filled with references to covert missions, advanced technology, and encounters with hostile forces.
This is a PSA, or public sock announcement. Experts have declared Bombas socks as the best way to warm up chilly feet. These pairs are super cushy, soft, and designed for maximum coziness. Plus, for every pair purchased, another pair will be donated, so someone in need of essential clothing can stay warm this winter. Go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
It's game time. And if you've got a hunch about this NBA season, you could turn it into a big win on FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win.
Ooh, that guy's hotter than a microwave burrito.
Now that's a red hot hunch.
21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus vest that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Over time, Lash became more and more convinced of the truth of these stories, and he began to distance himself from his past, cutting ties with old friends and severing contact with his family.
What if he really was in contact?
Yeah, and this also is really starting to shape up so far like the story of Scientology.
Yeah. Itty bitty.
So, as Lash's delusions deepened, he became increasingly invested in his new identity as a secret agent. He moved frequently, never staying in one place for long, and used multiple aliases to avoid detection. He claimed that he was constantly being pursued by enemies, both foreign and domestic, and that his life was in constant danger. To those who encountered him, Lash was a man of contradictions, highly intelligent and well-spoken, but also deeply paranoid and obsessive.
Aren't all geniuses?
Yeah, it makes me think of the movie A Beautiful Mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? One of my favorite parts of that movie is when, who's the actor that did that?
You're asking the wrong kid.
I know I am. Anyway, like a little girl comes in to talk to him, and he looks and he goes, "Hey, do you see those two people over there?" Like, there's no one. And she's like, "No." He goes, "Okay."
Okay.
So during this time, Lash began to amass the arsenal of weapons and survival gear that would later be discovered after his death. He acquired firearms, ammunition, and other supplies in large quantities, storing them in various locations across California. He was meticulous in his preparations, cataloging every item and ensuring that everything was in place for whatever crisis he believed was imminent. Lash's actions during these years suggest a man who is not only deeply delusional, but also highly organized and methodical. He planned what?
Just seeing similarities.
He planned every aspect of his life with precision, leaving little to chance. This level of planning and preparation would later complicate the investigation into his life, as it became clear that Lash had gone to great lengths to cover his tracks and maintain his secrets. In the late 1990s, Jeffrey Allen Lash met Catherine Nebron, a successful businesswoman who would become one of the most important figures in his life. Nebron, who owned a small business in Los Angeles area, was immediately drawn to Lash's intelligence and charisma. He was unlike anyone she had ever met, and she found his stories of secret government work fascinating. So here's the thing, guys. If you meet someone, doesn't matter where, and you guys are talking, chit-chatting, telling jokes, having a good time, and he starts telling you secrets or stories of secret government work he does.
Secrets?
Yeah. Guess what?
You're out?
No. He's not really doing work with secret government agencies.
What's he doing?
He's lying to you.
Oh.
So Brian's been lying to me?
Yes.
Damn. Yeah,
why
talk
would you
with that
lie
boy.
about smelling pee?
That's his cover. That's his cover story.
And nobody questioned.
Right. Well, no, I do. I ask him all the time, hey, did you smell pee today?
Has he ever tasted it?
Nope.
100%. 100. That's what I said. I go.
That's how they used to test for diabetes back in like the 1700s.
If it was
and
sweet?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, because sugar will go through and yeah.
That's gross. But okay.
Yeah, no.
You kiss that mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes down on you. He goes down on you. That's disgusting.
Can we talk about something? Let's go back on a topic.
Lash and Nebron quickly became romantically involved, and it wasn't long before Lash moved into Nebron's Pacific Palisades townhouse. Over the next several years, Nebron became deeply entangled in Lash's world of secrecy and intrigue. Lash convinced her that he was a covert operative working for the U.S. government, and that his life, and by extension hers, was in constant danger. Nebron was a smart and capable woman, but she was also deeply in love with Lash, and she believed him when he told her about his secret life. Lash's stories were detailed and consistent, and he presented himself as someone who was burdened by the knowledge he possessed and the work he was forced to do. Nebron accepted the restrictions that came with being involved with someone in Lash's line of work, including the need for secrecy and the constant threat of danger. Over time, Nebron became complicit in Lash's delusions, helping him to maintain the illusion of his secret agent identity. She proved financial support, allowing Lash to purchase the weapons and supplies he needed for his missions. She also helped him to maintain his cover, telling friends and family that Lash was involved in important government work and they couldn't discuss the details. Lash's relationship with Nebron was complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, he was deeply dependent on her for financial and emotional support. On the other hand, he maintained a strict control over her, using his supposed government connections to manipulate her and keep her in line. Nebron was both a victim and an accomplice in Lash's delusional world, caught in a web of lies that she couldn't escape. So, real quick, the lady, Nebron, paid for everything.
I had a feeling that's when you hooked up with a sugar mama.
Yeah. Like she would pay millions of dollars for all of she paid for all his whole arsenal, which was a lot.
And isn't that hard to do in California?
You would think so, yeah. So
doesn't that send any red flags that you're buying a bajillion?
Not
weapons?
if you, well, yes. So think about it. If you're a secret agent.
Shouldn't he be provided his own weapons?
Yeah, you would think he'd be getting his own.
Exactly, right. Like, red flag.
Yeah.
Why do I need to turn the receipt into the CIA?
Yeah.
Yeah,
can I get...
Am I going to get reimbursed?
Reimbursed,
yeah, right. Like, do I email them? Does this go to www.hrcia.com?
How do I fill out an expense report? Come on.
Yeah. So as their relationship deepened, Nebron became increasingly isolated from the outside world. Lash's paranoia dictated every aspect of their lives, from their interactions with others to their daily routines. Nebron found herself living in a state of constant vigilance, always on guard for the threats that Lash insisted were real. Despite the growing isolation and fear, Nebron remained devoted to Lash, convinced that he was a good man burdened with extraordinary responsibilities.
So,
yeah.
Where did he go during the day? Like, she's off at work. When is he doing his job?
I mean, That's a great question, but she's at work.
And she's
I know,
paying
but
for everything.
Does
so
you
yeah.
would think if you're a
Yeah.
secret
I wonder
agent,
if
you
he,
would
like-
disappear for.
he leaves when she leaves and then sneaks in the house after she leaves. Like,
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, that's
and goes
fine.
back in, and then leaves the house before she gets home and then comes home.
I mean, who knows? He could just be,
Or he can be with
Just
another
walking
lover.
the dogs down.
yeah. I mean, he could be out banging everyone else. Who knows? Nebrin's love for Lash was a powerful force in her life, and it blinded her to the reality of their situation. She saw herself as Lash's partner, someone who was helping him shoulder the immense burden of his secret work. Over time, Nebrin's identity became increasingly tied to Lash's, and she began to see the world through his paranoid lens. This transformation was gradual, but by the time of Lash's death, Nebrin was fully enmeshed in his delusional world, unable to see the truth of her situation. In the early 2000s, another figure entered Jeffrey Allen Lash's life. Dawn Vadbunker, an employee of Catherine Nevins, who quickly became one of Lash's most devoted followers. Vadbunker was a young woman with a troubled past, and she was drawn to Lash's stories of secret government work and extraterrestrial involvement. So basically my pickup lines should have been, hey, I do secret work with extraterrestrials.
And I love aliens.
Yes. That would have, hook, line, and sinker. I could have gotten so many more women.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Francesco.
Yeah, me llamo Francesco, and the aliens are talking to me, and they say that you need to procreate with me. May I have this dance?
Anyways.
Vadbunker had always been fascinated by the paranormal and fringe theories, and when she met Lash, she found in him someone who not only shared her interests, but claimed to have first-hand knowledge of the things she had only read about. Lash told Vadbunker that he was not entirely human.
Oh gosh, this one.
Oh yeah.
This took a curveball.
That he was a human-alien hybrid sent to Earth with a specific mission. He claimed to have access to advanced technology and knowledge that was beyond human understanding, and he presented himself as a protector and guide. Vadbunker, who was already inclined to believe in such things, became a true believer in Lash's story.
I'm still
Is
believing
she
it now.
cray-cray?
I'm still believing it.
Listen,
I'm choosing to believe it right now.
yeah, 100%.
Good for you.
if Lash was here right now telling me these stories, I'd start blowing them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hook, line, and
You're
sinker.
like, maybe I can be a alien human hybrid through
Yeah, do I need to
bodily
swallow?
fluids.
Yeah, then need to swallow your semen?
Change your DNA.
Yeah, give me a throat pie.
What the? Ew. Who has ever said that? I've never heard
Frank?
that. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah, well, no, you never heard of that?
No,
Yeah.
I have not.
No, now you have. There you go.
I want to unknow that.
No.
Can we restart our lives?
Yep, no.
Yes,
Sorry.
I want to restart.
Sorry, my bad. Too late. Vadbunker's involvement with Lash deepened over time, and she became an integral part of his life.
I see where this is going.
Do you?
Mm.
She helped him to acquire and store the weapons and supplies he needed for his supposed missions, and she participated in the elaborate rituals and practices that Lash claimed were necessary to protect them from harm.
Yep.
Vadbunker was completely convinced of Lash's identity and purpose, and she devoted herself to helping him in any way she could. So,
Sounds like he's starting a cult.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
if he could have.
Yeah.
So, he is banging the lady who owns the business,
Catherine.
now starts banging one of her employees. And both women are under his
Alien
extraterrestrial
spell.
government work.
Did they get badges and sworn in too?
I hope so.
I want a badge.
Yeah. All right. I'll give you one. Badge of honor.
Okay.
Lash's influence over Vadbunker was profound, and it led her to make significant sacrifices in her own life. She distanced herself from her family and friends, choosing to devote herself entirely to Lash and his mission. She became increasingly isolated, spending most of her time with Lash and Nebrin in the Pacific Palisades townhouse, where they lived in a state of constant vigilance and paranoia. Like, what does that look like? Like, do you ever wonder that it could just be a fly in the wall just to see how they all interact, all three?
It's like, aren't they in the corner in the fetal position walking back and forth?
I don't. Vadbunker's relationship with Lash was marked by a deep, almost religious belief in his identity and mission. She saw Lash as more than just a man. She saw him as a being of extraordinary power and knowledge, someone who was destined to save the world. This belief gave Vadbunker a sense of purpose and belonging that she had been searching for, and it led her to place her complete trust in Lash. The relationship between Lash, Debrin, and Vadbunker was one of mutual dependence and delusion. Lash needed their support to maintain his secret agent identity, while Nebrin and Vadbunker were drawn into this world by their love and belief in him. Together they created a self-reinforcing system of lies and delusions that kept them bound to one another and to the secret life they had constructed. This is so weird. Lash's control over Vadbunker was both psychological and emotional. He isolated her from the outside world, convincing her that she would only trust him and those who were a part of his mission. He used her belief in his alien origins to manipulate her actions, telling her that she was part of a larger cosmic plan that required her total obedience and loyalty. Vadbunker, who had always struggled to find her place in the world, found comfort in his belief, even as it led her further down a path of isolation and delusion. Vadbunker's involvement with Lash reached its peak in the years leading up to his death. She was fully immersed in this world, participating in his elaborate preparations for the impending crisis he predicted. She helped him acquire and store weapons, prepare survival gear, and maintain the strict security measures that Lash insisted were necessary. In her mind, she was not just a follower, she was a crucial part of a mission that would save humanity. After Lash's death, Vadbunker's belief system was shattered. She had invested so much of herself in Lash's identity and mission that when he died, she was left adrift, unable to reconcile the reality of his death with the world she had believed in. This led to a mental breakdown, and Vadbunker disappeared shortly after Lash's body was discovered, only to be found disoriented and confused in Oregon weeks later. Vadbunker's relationship with Lash was a tragic example of how a vulnerable person can be manipulated and controlled by someone with a dominant personality and a powerful delusion. She entered Lash's world looking for purpose and meaning, only to find herself lost in a web of lies and paranoia. Her experience with Lash left her deeply scarred both mentally and emotionally, and she was largely retreated from public life since his death. Jeffrey Allen Lash's relationships with Catherine Nebrin and Dawn Vadbunker were characterized by a complex interplay of manipulation, dependence, and delusion. Lash was deeply paranoid and possibly mentally ill, do you think?
Just a tiny bit.
Constructed a world in which he was the central figure, a secret agent with a mission to protect the world from unseen threats.
But again, if you're a genius, you know things or think things differently than other people. And then kind of going back to your depression statement, they say intelligence is directly correlated with depression.
Yeah, knowing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe his mental illness is depression because he's so smart and he's been probed by aliens.
I'm going to say he thinks he's an alien hybrid.
Aren't we all?
Maybe.
I am.
Me too. I don't know if I am.
You're stupid. Lash's ability to manipulate Nebrin and Vadbunker stemmed from his deep understanding of their vulnerabilities. He knew that Nebrin was a woman who valued intelligence and purpose, and he crafted a narrative that appealed to her sense of adventure and her desire to be part of something bigger than herself. He recognized Vadbunker's need for belonging and purpose, and he used this to draw her into his world, giving her a sense of identity and importance that she had been lacking. Do you wonder if maybe these women weren't attractive?
Sure, we can Google them, but then again, you're putting social stigmas on people.
Yeah, that's my job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
back
listen,
to our earlier conversation.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I'm just saying, if they weren't attractive.
Catherine is.
Is she?
Oh, Catherine is. Yeah.
Well, then that's even weirder.
I'd say they're like California sevens.
Yeah.
Maybe a California 6.
Aren't you doing exactly what you just yelled at me for?
I was trying to be funny.
I know you are. I know.
Well, California has its own rating scale.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, a California 7 is like an Omaha 11.
Yeah.
And that's how you get
a Midwest 11.
Yeah, that's how you get 7-Elevens. So that
was stupid.
100% that was. The relationships were marked by a deep dependency on Lash. Nebrin depended on him for a sense of love and purpose, while Van Bunker depended on him for a sense of identity and belonging. Lash, in turn, depended on both women to validate his delusions and to support the lifestyle he had created. The mutual dependency created a powerful bond that was difficult to break, even as it became increasingly toxic and destructive. Lash's control over Nebrin and Van Bunker was not just emotional and psychological, but also practical. He controlled their movements, their interactions with the outside world, and even their thoughts and beliefs. He convinced them that they were part of a larger mission, one that required their total obedience and loyalty. This control extended to every aspect of their lives, from the way they communicated with others to the way they viewed the world.
So I'm also wondering, like, how did this impact Catherine or Nebrin's? It says she was a businesswoman, and obviously they worked together. So, like, how did this impact their career?
Well, if you believe that, I don't think it did. I think when they were
just bringing home the bacon for...
Yeah, I think they were just pretending like all that is normal. You know?
I guess it'd be different if they worked for like a larger company, or if they were more entrepreneurial or a small business. But I was just wondering, like,
yeah, I'm sure
if they're kind of going down these emotional rabbit holes and psychological rabbit holes, has it impacted their careers?
Yeah, I'm sure that Lash would have put them at ease, saying, you know, you're safe at work, you know, or something like that, you know, something along those lines. So they were able to go to work, function normally while they're there, and then hold the secret. And then when they came home was when things kind of went awry.
Yeah.
So as their relationships with Lash deepened, Nebrin and Van Bunker became increasingly isolated from the outside world. Lash's paranoia dictated every aspect of their lives, and they found themselves living in a state of constant fear and vigilance. Despite the growing isolation and fear, both women remained devoted to Lash, convinced that he was a good man burdened with extraordinary responsibilities. Did I read that already?
No.
No? Okay. The dynamics of the relationships highlight the power of psychological manipulation and the way in which a dominant personality can exert control over others. Lash was able to exploit the vulnerabilities of Nebrin and Van Bunker, drawing them into his delusional world and making them complicit in his fantasies. The result was a toxic and destructive relationship that ultimately led to tragedy. The day-to-day life of Jeffrey Allen Lash, Catherine Nebrin, and Dawn Van Bunker was one of extreme secrecy and paranoia. Lash maintained strict control over every aspect of their lives, dictating their movements, their interactions with others, and even their thoughts. He insisted that they follow a set of rules and protocols designed to protect them from the threats he claimed were constantly lurking. Oh, another thing was in the townhouse they lived in, Lash had a room, and he told the two of them never to go in the room, and they never did. But wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't that make you want to go in that room even more?
Because my guess is he probably didn't own the house, right?
Right. No, yeah.
His sugar mamas are paying for it.
Yeah, this was Catherine's townhome.
Yeah, it was Catherine's. So he's like, yeah.
Say I can't go into a room of the house I'm paying a mortgage on.
Right. Yeah.
But also is that like whole like squatters thing where...
Squatters' rights?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're squatting where?
Yeah, I'll squat and pee anywhere.
Squatty potty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Lash rarely left the house, and when he did, he took extreme precautions to avoid detection. He used multiple vehicles, frequently changed his appearance, and avoided public places. He communicated with the outside world only when absolutely necessary, and even then he used coded language and cryptic messages to avoid being tracked. Inside the townhouse, Lash's paranoia was even more evident. The house was filled with weapons, survival gear, and other supplies, all carefully cataloged and stored. Lash insisted that Nebrin and Van Bunker be prepared for any eventuality from a government raid to an alien invasion.
Do you think he kept spreadsheets?
Oh, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, you married the wrong person.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
I don't want to be a sugar mama. I want to have a sugar daddy. I don't want to work.
I want a sugar daddy. So, where was I?
Sorry.
No, don't be.
I'm not really. I was just saying it to say it.
He conducted regular drills and training sessions, teaching them how to defend themselves and how to survive in the event of a crisis. Lash's control over them extended to their thoughts and beliefs. He convinced them that they were a part of a larger mission, one that required their complete devotion and obedience. He told them that they were being watched and that any deviation from his instructions could result in their deaths.
I always feel like someone
is watching me. Well, every time I see Secret Agent, I always think Secret Agent Man. Yeah. So.
Bree's like, I got nothing.
Yeah, I was just dancing.
Oh. I thought you were shaking your head like, shut up.
Yeah, I thought so too. So Nebrin and Van Bunker accepted these conditions, believing that Lash was their only protection against the dangers they faced. The life they lived was one of isolation and fear, but it was also one that Lash carefully constructed to reinforce his delusions. By controlling every aspect of their lives, he was able to maintain the illusion of his secret agent identity and keep Nebrin and Van Bunker under his influence. It was a life that was both meticulously planned and deeply disturbed, a reflection of a complex, contradictory nature of Jeffrey Allen Lash. On July 4th, 2015, Independence Day.
That might have been curated?
Maybe.
The carefully constructed world of Jeffrey Allen Lash came crashing down. Lash, who had been declining health for some time, suddenly collapsed and died in the Pacific Palisades townhouse. Nebrin and Van Bunker, who had been conditioned to follow Lash's instructions without question, were at a loss for what to do. Lash had explicit instructions for what was to be done in the event of his death. He told Nebrin and Van Bunker that they were not to report his death to the authorities, as his handlers would take care of the situation. He insisted that his body be left in his SUV, where it would be retrieved by those who know how to handle it. For nearly 2 weeks, Nebrin and Van Bunker followed Lash's instructions, leaving his body in the SUV parked outside the townhouse. They waited for his handlers to arrive, but no one came. As the days passed, the situation became increasingly untenable. Lash's body began to decompose in the summer heat.
I was going to say, it's summer.
100%. And the smell became overwhelming.
Icky.
Finally.
Now it's going to look like they murdered him. You know what I mean?
Right. Finally, on July 17th, 2015, Nebrin contacted an attorney who in turn contacted the police. The authorities arrived at the townhouse to find Lash's body in an advanced state of decomposition.
You don't want to buy that SUV.
Do you think that it was just a stained body, like on the leather?
Oh, just like
yeah, right.
Just like a silhouette of gross.
Yeah, like a chalk outline, but just of his bodily fluids that just soaked in. It was immediately clear that something was seriously wrong, and the investigation into Lash's death began in earnest. The discovery of Lash's body quickly made headlines, but it was the subsequent revelations that would capture the public's imagination. When police entered the townhouse, they were stunned by what they found. More than 1,200 firearms, 6.5 tons of ammunition, and over $230,000 in cash, all meticulously stored and cataloged. The sheer volume of weapons and supplies raised immediate questions about who Lash was and what he had been involved in. Do you know how much 6.5 tons is?
A lot.
6.5 elephants.
13,000 pounds.
Wouldn't your floors collapse?
If
you're in a vertical townhome, you'd think the floors would cave in.
Unless it was like on the main floor.
Yeah.
You know.
And some townhomes has a basement too, so.
Not in California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't believe in basements in California.
Yeah, they're weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're missing out.
Yeah.
They are.
Because they can use basements for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like hiding bodies.
Yep, allegedly.
Yeah. Weapons.
It'd be cool down there.
It would be cooler.
Less decomposition.
Did they open his door?
Oh, I'm sure they opened it and he just...
Is that where all this stuff was?
He just oozed out of the door.
No. The room that he wasn't allowed.
Oh, yeah, that's where all the stuff was.
Okay, it was in his secret
all
room.
All that was in that secret room. Yeah. So the investigation into Jeffrey Allen Lash's death and life was one of the most challenging that local law enforcement had ever encountered. The discovery of the massive weapons cache and the bizarre circumstances of his death created a complex web of leads to follow, each of which seemed to lead to more questions than answers. One of the primary challenges faced by investigators was the lack of concrete evidence linking Lash to any known government agency.
He worked for the dark government.
He did, and the dark aliens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Despite his claims of working for the CIA, FBI, or other clandestine organizations, there were no records to support these assertions.
Right, because those three-letter organizations can just make you fear.
Or are those organizations actually aliens?
They probably are.
That's probably like how you spell their name, the alien's name.
Maybe.
Thea and Phoebe.
Yeah.
Phoebe.
Yeah. Attempts to trace his financial history also led to dead ends, with no clear explanation for how he had acquired the funds necessary to amass such a large collection of weapons and other supplies.
They couldn't look at sugar mamas?
Oh, they do. I think.
Well,
I hope so.
If you can't follow the money, just
Right.
look at the roommates
Pretty
or
much.
whatever. Yeah.
Investigators interviewed those who had been close to Lash, including Catherine Nebrin and Dawn Van Bunker. Both women provided detailed accounts of Lash's stories, but neither could offer any verifiable evidence to back up his claims. Nebrin, who had lived with Lash for years, insisted that she believed he was telling the truth, but she could not explain the discrepancies between his stories and the lack of supporting evidence. The discovery of Lash's body in his SUV added another layer of mystery to the case. According to Nebrin, Lash had instructed her not to report his death to the authorities, claiming that his handlers would take care of the situation. When no one came, Nebrin left the body in the vehicle for nearly 2 weeks before finally contacting the police. The state of the body, which was badly decomposed by the time it was discovered, made it difficult for investigators to determine the exact cause of death, though it was eventually ruled as natural causes. Yeah, melting is natural causes?
Yeah, melting.
All
Yeah.
right.
Like an ice cube.
The forensic experts who examined Lash's home were struck by the meticulousness with which he had organized his possessions. Every item in the house, from the weapons to the survival gear, was carefully cataloged and stored, indicating a high level of planning and attention to detail. This level of organization was consistent with Lash's claims of being involved in covert operations, but it also suggested a possible obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Don't hate.
Appreciate.
You are Lash. The investigation ultimately concluded with more questions than answers. Authorities were unable to determine the true origins of Lash's wealth, the purpose of his weapons cache, or the veracity of his claims of government involvement. The case was all officially closed, but the mystery of Jeffrey Allen Lash has remained unresolved. The discovery of Lash's weapons cache and the bizarre circumstances of his death quickly led to proliferation of theories and speculations. The most immediate theory was that Lash had indeed been involved in some form of clandestine government work. The sophistication of his weaponry and the detailed nature of his stories lent credence to the idea that he might have been more than just a delusional recluse. However, as investigators dug deeper, they found no evidence to support Lash's claims of government connections. There were no records of his employment with any federal agency, no classified documents, and no trace of the handlers or operatives he claimed to work with. The absence of such evidence led many to conclude that Lash had constructed an elaborate fantasy, one that had convinced himself and others was real. Another theory that gained traction was the idea that Lash was a human-alien hybrid, as he had claimed to Van Bunker and others. This theory was fueled by Lash's interest in extraterrestrial life and his frequent references to advanced technology and alien races. Some of those who knew Lash believed that he was in possession of knowledge or abilities that were beyond human understanding, and that his weapons cache was part of a larger plan to defend Earth from an impending extraterrestrial threat. Skeptics, however, argued that Lash's behavior was indicative of severe mental illness, possibly schizophrenia or related disorder. They pointed to his paranoia, his obsession with secrecy, and his delusional claims as evidence that he was suffering from a condition that had driven him to create a fantasy world in which he was a key player in global or cosmic events.
I don't like that.
What don't you like?
Why does someone have to have mental illness to have an obsession with something?
'Cause-
Probably.
I mean, you can say I'm obsessed with cars. I love everything about cars. I
Yeah.
know everything about it,
Mhm.
all the makes, all the models, all
Mhm.
the years. Does that mean I have a mental
It's
disorder
probably
because
what you
I'm
do with
obsessed
that-
with collecting cars?
it might.
probably how you do and
I'm
what
not
you,
saying
and how you do with that obsession. Though.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
I just don't like how people jump to that.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. That's fair enough. I think this kind of obsession where you're creating stories and you fooled people and
And you start fooling
you have
yourself.
13,000
But does that mean mental illness? What if you're just a weirdo?
Well,
That's not a technical definition.
like I understand what you're saying, but I don't think someone quote unquote being a weirdo goes to these lengths. I think when you go past a certain threshold is where they bring in mental health.
I don't know. You see people who collect things, and their collections
Oh.
are, in some people's cases, are extensive, whether they're, action figures or, your
So-
baseball cards.
Yeah, right. When it starts affecting your lifestyle and well-being is when it becomes an addiction, and an addiction is a mental health disorder.
But it doesn't mean you're schizophrenic.
No, but they're saying that his schemes of grandeur and with being an alien human
Then he's a
hybrid.
narcissist. I'm just saying.
Listen, you have a valid point. I'm not saying
If someone collects puppies, they're going to have a different response than if somebody collects weapons.
I
From a
don't-
social
no,
perspective.
because you have a crazy cat lady. So even
Right.
when you collect puppies, it'd be the same thing. You're just a crazy dog lady.
Right.
But
I'm
and
just
again,
saying it depends on.
It's game time. And if you've got a hunch about this NBA season, you could turn it into a big win on FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win.
Ooh, that guy's hotter than a microwave burrito.
Now that's a red hot hunch.
21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus vest that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at fanduel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What your collection is.
I think
suppose.
I think it's the extreme of the collection that makes it a mental health issue or not.
So are you saying all the plants that I collect at my house means
Yes.
You're cuckoo.
like
The,
cuckoo?
the answer is yes.
Cool. Okay, then me and Mr. Lash are homies. Got it.
Yeah. No, I knew that way before.
Cool.
So psychologists who studied the case noted that Lash's story was a textbook example of what is known as grandiose delusion, a condition in which an individual believes that they have extraordinary abilities, power, or knowledge.
That sounds like every politician in the world.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, keep going.
In Lash's case, his delusions were so detailed and so convincingly presented that they had the power to draw others into his world, leading them to believe in his self-constructed reality. Were you going to say something?
It just still sounds like many other people in this world.
I was going to say that is every single politician in the world. Yeah. I mean, you don't get, like, there is a psychological theory that people who do get involved and stay in politics are power hungry, basically.
Yeah.
Like they have
When you're
that
a
need.
60-year politician, like, come on.
Yeah. When you've been in office longer than I've been alive,
Yeah.
there's an issue.
And you old.
Right.
Yeah.
I am. Things are falling apart.
I'll take your elbows off.
I know. All right. So in the years following Jeffrey Allen Lash's death, the people who had been involved in his life attempted to move on. Though they were forever marked by their connection to the mystery, Catherine Nebrin, who had lived with Lash for over a decade, found herself at the center of legal battle over Lash's estate. The sheer volume of weapons and cash found in Lash's home created a complex situation for the courts to unravel, particularly given the lack of clear documentation about Lash's finances and possessions. Nebrin maintained that she had believed Lash's claims of being government operative and that she followed his instructions out of fear for her own safety. However, her involvement in the case led to scrutiny from both law enforcement and the media, and she became a reluctant public figure in the years that followed.
So she didn't get the guns back?
I don't know.
That
I get-
sucks.
So are they sitting as evidence, or are they just in circulation by... Or,
ATF probably has them.
So, if I remember reading correctly, they had a big thing on whether to destroy them or not.
Why?
Less guns in the world? I don't know. I don't know.
One way you're destroying evidence, and another way you're just destroying something just that she could sell or whatever and get her money back.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this was after they closed the case that it was he did die of natural causes and so on and so on. So
he just wanted to make sure he wasn't moving guns for the cartel or something.
Right. So Dawn Vadbunker, who had been drawn into Lash's world through her belief in his extraterrestrial connections, experienced a mental breakdown following his death. Her family reported her missing shortly after Lash's body was discovered, and she was eventually found in Oregon, disoriented and confused.
She was high.
100%. Vadbunker's experience with Lash left her deeply traumatized, and she has largely retreated from public life since the events of 2015. The legal proceedings surrounding Lash's estate dragged on for several years as various parties attempted to claim ownership of the weapons, cash, and other assets found in the home. The absence of a will or any clear instructions from Lash complicated the process, and the case became a tangle of legal disputes that ultimately led to much of the estate being seized by the state.
That doesn't make sense.
Not at all.
If he is a meticulous down to the dots in the, his reporting, whatever.
Right.
Right.
The weapons were eventually confiscated by law enforcement.
What if there was, sorry, I'm cutting you off. What if there was a manifesto?
That would have been fantastic.
And they just said, we're keeping this as evidence because we don't want that to be public knowledge. And therefore no will.
And like what was in the manifesto was like the real alien stories.
Yeah.
And he was really alien human hybrid that had like this obsessive compulsive disorder for collecting.
Right, you have to melt first and then you get beamed up.
Maybe he was actually really an alien hybrid in the CIA, but they don't want that getting out.
The CIA.
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 Yeah, I'm on board for these theories.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. The weapons were eventually confiscated by law enforcement, who determined that they had been acquired legally, but were improperly stored and cataloged. The cash which remained unclaimed was used to cover the costs of the investigation and legal proceedings, with any remaining funds being absorbed into the state's coffers. The story of Jeffrey Alan Lash continues to resonate with those who are fascinated by mysteries and the unexplained. His life and death have become a subject of study for criminologists, psychologists, and conspiracy theorists alike, each seeking to uncover the truth behind the man who lived a life of secrets.
So I don't own a Pew Pew.
Okay.
But
I do.
Well, I don't know if they were purchased legally, but they were just apparently cataloged improperly, even though they were cataloged and stored improperly, they can be taken away.
I guess
that's a thing.
I guess
it could be a state thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
California, but
yeah,
that just sounds like they're like, how do we just take these because now we're gonna?
It's like they're trying to find the in between,
a loophole to to take them away.
Yeah, probably
the small print.
Yeah,
be like, I'll sell them to you, America.
Right.
America.
The tale of Jeffrey Alan Lash is one that defies easy explanation. It's a story that sits at the intersection of reality and fantasy, fact and fiction. Lash's life was a complex tapestry of secrets, lies, and possible delusions, woven together in a way that was left those who study it baffled and intrigued. At its heart, the mystery of Jeffrey Alan Lash is a reflection of our own fascination with the unknown. It is a reminder that even in the age of information, there are still stories that resist understanding, still lives that remain shrouded in mystery. Lash's story invites us to question the nature of belief, the power of the mind, and the limits of what we can truly know about another person. As time goes on, the story of Jeffrey Alan Lash may fade from public memory, but for those who were touched by his life and death, the question will remain, who was Jeffrey Alan Lash? Was he a secret agent, a delusional man, or something else entirely? The answers may never be found, but the search for them will continue, driven by the same curiosity that has fueled humanity's quest for understanding throughout history. So what do you guys think?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
How important do you have to be for your middle name to be referenced when your name is used?
A lot of serial killers is 3 names.
Yeah, serial killers, assassination people, assassins. That's the word.
Assassinator people?
Yeah, assassinator. It's similar to the Terminator, but
got it.
Yeah, the assassinator.
But they're made out of sticks.
My cookie.
They're made out of sticks.
Cookie. So, yeah, what do you guys think?
I want to think that he knows something.
I know you do.
I want to think that.
I know you do. I think he was just a crazy guy.
I agree with Frank on this one, actually, which I never thought I would
Yeah.
agree with Frank on anything.
Yeah, it's happened a couple
That's
times in the
'cause
show.
you guys are stupid.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry, I'm using a Frank phrase.
100% I am. I 100% am stupid.
No, I think he was going crazy and he was trying to possibly form his own cult if he could, because he only had 2 people in it at the time.
I don't think he was trying to do his own cult just because.
Because he was using their money.
Right, but those are the only 2 he was happy with. He didn't want to have this whole big group. Yeah. He just wanted enough people to survive on the lifestyle he chooses to live by.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I don't think he could have. I mean, like, in all honesty.
So that could have been his end game, but he never got there.
No, he died in 2015. He was already, 60 years old?
55.
He was born in 55.
Yeah, that 2015, he's 60 years old. I mean, what?
I guess so, yeah.
I mean.
I always forget what age he is in this.
Yeah, I mean, when you start a cult, you really just want to start banging other people's wives. He's too old to bang.
There's some cult leaders that are old and they're still banging.
Yeah.
Or they tried to, at least.
But, like, I want to know more of what his plan was. Like, I know he wants to defend and protect America from an invasion, but, like, what are 3 people going to do with, what'd you say, like 2,100 or 2,600 or whatever weapons?
1,200 weapons and
1,200?
6.5 tons of ammunition.
Right. Like, are they going to hole up in this townhome or apartment or whatever, this little building, and just...
It's their own form of Waco.
Yeah, it's a 3-person Waco.
Yeah.
But, like...
It's like playing 3-card
They were going to
Monty.
just, like, board up the walls and... Like, what was the real plan? Were they going to...
I don't think he had a real plan. I think he was delusional and he was just going off the cuff. Kind of like what we do every time we record an episode.
See, we're all little lashes on the inside.
I'll give you a lash.
Should we call what we do now a lashing?
Mm-mm. I got this joke from another podcast I listened to.
Okay.
But
it's probably cleaner than yours. No.
I have a question.
Great.
How many knees do you guys have?
2.
2.
Yeah.
Right. A left knee and a right knee, right?
Okay.
How many knees do I have?
2.
No.
Confused.
I have 3. I have a left knee, a right knee, and a weenie.
All right.
Insert Lynette's eye roll here.
Come on, that's funny.
You have 4. A teeny weenie.
That's still 1.
Nope.
Yes. Teeny is not a thing. It's an adjective.
I have 2 weenies. So I have 4. I beat you.
Is a weenus
you
a
have
weenie?
2 spitting cups.
Is your weenus a weenie?
My weenus?
Yeah. Do you know what a weenus is?
I remember the report that Chandler had to do
Yes.
at work. I have no idea what that is.
The elbows that we're going to remove.
Oh, we're calling it a weenus now?
The
That's
skin
the
at the
term.
end of your
Oh, I did
elbow
not-
is a weenus.
Yeah,
I
that
did
skin.
not know that.
The skin on the elbow is a weenus. Yeah.
Then I have 5. I have 5 weenies. Knees.
Weenies. Bees knees.
So
How did you get here?
I have no idea how we got here. But we're here. We might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the scenery.
Good way to end the episode.
Yeah. So the host's daughter told him that joke and she's like 10 or something.
Oh, God.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was really, the story was really cute. And I thought that was a great dad joke. So I thought you guys would appreciate it. I guess not. So fuck yourselves.
I enjoy a dad joke.
Nah, I roll.
We like dad jokes.
You guys.
Yeah, but when you tell dad jokes, it just doesn't work.
No?
No.
Like mine have to be dirty?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to be uncle jokes.
Oh, Uncle Touchy.
Uncle Creepy.
Uncle Touchy.
Does it
With
count?
that mustache.
I know, right? I love it.
Handlebar.
I keep forgetting that I have it.
We can't.
Thank God.
Good thing the mic covers up most of your chin. We can't
All
really
right,
tell.
hold on. Let me
It's a good thing we won't
let me
see him
stand
for
up
at least a
straight.
week.
Nope.
Let me sit up very straight. I hope you guys dream of this.
I want to have nightmares.
I know. Does it look like just a caterpillar is on my face? No.
The fact that like your chin hair is already like grown in,
I
that's
know.
already
I know. I did this morning.
yeah.
So weird.
It's like the shape of Beaker's mouth, the Muppet who's like,
Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. All right, so All right. Anything to add here, ladies?
He's the real deal.
God.
I think he's got one less person that he could have had on his team over here.
I know.
Man, he lost out.
Yeah.
Call me up.
Yeah. 2015. Yeah. You were available.
Yeah.
You were available for flight to California.
Yeah, I was already flying back and forth.
Yeah. So we'd have to go earlier. So 2005. How old were you in 2005?
2005.
21. Okay. So you were legal. So he could have roped you in there as a 50-year-old man.
Mm-mm.
All right.
I just love him for his mind.
Oh God! All right.
Well, that was good. I learned a lot.
Yeah, that was
I learned
nice.
what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. I can't wait for you to fall into the trap of Uncle Ash.
Well, when I join a cult, I'm going to tell you guys. So.
Listen. I will visit. I will visit. I will not deter you from it, but I just want to come and visit.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Once you're there, you can't leave.
Trapped ya.
Oh God, this is going to be such a violent end.
But it'll be fun.
All right. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
My name is Frank.
I'm Bree.
And this is Lynette.
And you've been listening to Fringe
Beyond
Limits.
It's game time. And if you've got a hunch about this NBA season, you could turn it into a big win on FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win.
Ooh, that guy's hotter than a microwave burrito.
Now that's a red hot hunch.
21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus vest that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at fanduel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You know that feeling when you're trapped in an elevator?
During a hurricane?
While being chased by a bear?
Wait, what? That's not even possible.
Okay, maybe not all at once, but on the Crux True Survival Stories, we bring you stories that are even more unbelievable, and they actually happened.
From mountainside miracles to ocean odysseys.
From desert disasters to Arctic adventures.
Are you drawn to thrilling survival stories where characters overcome impossible odds? The Crux True Survival Stories is your podcast.
New episodes are airing every Monday, available wherever you get your podcasts.